Hey everyone, welcome to Talking Tokens, a podcast focused on interviewing the best crypto founders, market players, and up-and-coming startups that are changing the industry every single Tuesday and Thursday. I'm Jacquelyn Melinek, your award-nominated host and former senior crypto reporter turned entrepreneur, and I'm excited to be here with you all. Now, let's get into it. Today's guest is Johann Kerbrat, the general manager of crypto at Robinhood. Robinhood is definitely best known for its exchange app that allows people to invest commission-free, and the company's monthly active users was about 13.7 million, according to its Q1 2024 report. And its transaction-based revenue at the time increased 59% to 329 million, with about 126 million of that coming from cryptocurrency income. So it's safe to say they're pretty involved in the crypto space. In recent news, the company also acquired crypto exchange Bitstamp for $200 million. And that's what I'm most excited to talk about today. So let's get into it. Johann, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jacquelyn. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've last talked. I think last time we spoke was at Consensus last year, 2023.
That's right.
So I feel like a lot has happened on your end.
Yeah, we try to keep busy and keep building.
Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned in the intro, the Robinhood acquisition. To start off, why did Robinhood decide to buy Bitstamp crypto exchange?
Yeah, there was many reasons to buy Bitstamp, but I think three of the key points for us was to, one, accelerate the international expansion, two, bring a globally scaled crypto exchange to the company, and three, introduce the first institutional business to Robinhood. I think, all of these 3 points are very important, but like we've said in the past in our earnings, international expansion has been one of our focus. We launched crypto in the EU in December of 2023, and we just launched recently the brokerage in the UK in April of this year. And so Bitstamp, holding over 50 active licenses and registration globally, will really help us move even faster, and they will bring customers across the EU, the UK, Asia, and also the US to Robinhood. So that's been like one of our big reason. And then the institutional side, I think it's very important for us. Bitstamp has been trusted by institution for its reliable trade execution, deep order book, and their API connectivity. They offer services like crypto as a service, which is kind of a white label. They have institutional lending and staking. And so it really means that Robinhood will enter the institutional space with an active and highly trusted business with already established relationships. So we're not starting from scratch there, and we're actually just going to accelerate. And so, yeah, really excited about the news.
Yeah. And before we get into the global expansion and then like retail versus institutional adoption on Robinhood, how do you kind of evaluate what makes like a good acquisition? How many crypto exchanges did you review internally? Like, what was the process like for that?
It's a long process. We've said in the past, Robinhood wants to invest in crypto. We think that this is really the framework that will power finance tomorrow. And so we've always been looking at acquisition. We constantly look at opportunities, and either from a partnership side or from a M&A side. But yeah, there is a few reasons, one is, compliance. We at Robinhood are a safety first company. We want to make sure that whoever we partner with is also kind of sharing this type of core value. And, Bitstamp having this large suite of regulatory operating license mean that they had maintained very high standards of compliance and have been able to follow strict regulation, both to conduct the business and protect customer funds and information. So for us, having a place with strong relationship with regulator was the way to position the international growth in a good way. And then, there's also aspect around like technology, like are they using a similar technical stack that Robinhood is using? And, plenty of other factors that I'm even forgetting right now, but it's a long process. We've been excited to do it. And even though we still have to close, and that's expected to happen in H1 of next year, we're really excited.
Awesome. When it comes to acquisitions in general in the crypto space, what do you think will follow for Robinhood on that front? Are there other areas you're monitoring, companies? You don't have to name names, but have like a theme.
I think at this point we are going to have our hands pretty busy with this acquisition. We're going to focus on this one, and then we'll keep looking. We think that anything that can be interesting for our customers, for the company, we'll look at it. But yeah, I think in the short term, I will be focusing on this one.
Okay. And then on that front, like when you're looking at the global expansion of Robinhood, how does this kind of play into that? You talked about it a little bit before, but like what markets do you really want to tap into further? Is there a specific region like Europe, Asia, LATAM, Africa that you think is kind of like untapped for growth?
Yeah, I mean, so definitely a ton of region that we want to focus on, but right now we launched in the EU, like I mentioned, and we're going to expanding in the EU. We think we can provide a great service and a great offering to our customers there, and we think that's a great focus for the company. Bitstamp also has licenses in other places like the UK and Asia. So we also think that's going to be a good step forward for us for what's in the future. I do think, personally that a ton of region like in Africa or in South America, like there is a ton of other markets that are interesting. But right now we're going to, like I said, focus a bit on the EU for now.
Yeah. When I think of Robinhood, it was actually the first app I downloaded to buy cryptocurrency and stocks.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. It was like years ago at this point, but I think of it as like an American platform, American company, etc. Do you want that image of Robinhood to change?
I don't know if I want it to change, but I think the same kind of reason why Robinhood has been successful in the US can happen everywhere else. I think we were the first one to kind of disrupt equities at the time. Like in average at the time, you had to spend like $10 to place an order, and now you cannot find an app that doesn't offer like commission-free trading. And I think it's the same thing in the crypto side. We've been pushing on offering the lowest cost and average to buy crypto in the US. And we think we can bring that internationally. And the company is international itself. Like we have a lot of people that are not from the US, myself included. I'm from France, and so I think for us it's going to be really important to bring that to the rest of the world. One of the main reasons I got into using Robinhood was that I didn't really have a financial background in terms of like investing and things like this. And so I opened an account back in 2015 or something, and being able to do all the things myself without having to talk to a banker or investor or advisor was just like mind blowing. And I think, we can bring that everywhere else.
Yeah, I guess on that front, when you look at the other regions, obviously all markets are different. The way people act in them are different. What are you noticing for European markets or Asian markets about the way retail users are compared to maybe the US?
I think, we spend a lot of time building product by talking to customers. So the way that we build anything, we have a product team and a design team and a user research team, and they kind of work all together, go to the market, talk to customer and ask them questions like, what do you like about your current platform? What do you not like? What is missing to our product or these kind of things? And so far, like a lot of the feedback that we got was that the UX and UI of Robinhood was much better. It was simpler to place a trade. It was also simpler to deposit and withdraw cash on the platform. So, we just keep improving our product and make sure that we can differentiate ourselves from the rest of the competition.
Yeah. On the front of user accessibility and user experience, that's definitely something that a lot of people in crypto struggle with. Not every platform is user friendly. What about Bitstamp's platform and exchange did you like, and features that maybe you'll pull from them and bring into Robinhood?
Oh, I think it's pretty early in the integration for us to share like clear plan on how this is going to happen. At this point, really we want to focus on closing the deal, focusing on getting all the regulatory approvals and everything like that. But I think the combination of the two is where we think there is a lot of power. We think the Bitstamp platform has been trusted for many years, and they were sharing kind of the same values that we had, and we wanted to make sure that also we can bring something to them to make sure that their platform is growing. And I think our experience in building UX UI that people really love is going to be very impactful for them. So very early to share more details, but I really think the synergies between the two companies are going to make the two companies very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Bitstamp has a US presence, but it also has a global presence, as does Robinhood. As it stands today, acquisition or in the talks of it being finalized, which market outside of the US does Robinhood have the most users in?
We usually don't share number, at least for now, on the international front. But I think, for crypto, we're only in the US or in the EU, so I can easily tell you it's the EU.
It's going to be the US, yeah.
But
well, I guess outside the US, it would be the EU, yeah.
Right, exactly. But we also launched our self-custody wallet last year. It's available in 140 plus countries, been downloaded in hundreds of thousands of times. I will actually not be able to tell you which country is the best one, but that's kind of my focus. It's really offering tools that everyone can use everywhere, and not necessarily like just looking at the number for the day off.
Okay, fair enough. On the front of Europe, though, like what interests Robinhood about expanding its crypto operations out there? Like why Europe?
Yeah, I think what we got really excited about was, the size of the market. Even though it's very fragmented, way more countries in Europe than in other region, but the EU is adopting this framework called MiCA. It's going to be available starting January 2025, and with this one framework, one clear regulatory framework, we'll be able to serve all the EU members. And that I think was really one of the key decision factor. We think the US could actually learn quite a bit from that on the regulatory front and push towards a clear framework as well for cryptocurrencies company to execute on.
Yeah, following that, since you brought up regulation, how are you guys viewing the environment in the US right now, especially with the SEC kind of clamping down on the crypto industry? Are there conversations that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, as we've publicly disclosed that we received a Wells notice from the SEC, and we also published our reaction to it. We are fairly disappointed by how the regulator is engaging with the industry. When they offered to us to come in and register, and they offered every company in the space to come in and register, we actually did it. We had many meetings with them, and that didn't go anywhere. So we are very disappointed to see this kind of regulation by enforcement. I'm hopeful, that with the example of the EU and the example of other places in the world, that the US is actually going to push on adopting something that we can actually build on top of. And me as an immigrant coming to this country as an engineer, I came to the US because of the innovation of the country, and so I'm hopeful that we can keep this place of number one for crypto companies, and not just lose people to the EU and other places more friendly to crypto companies.
Yeah, I actually spoke to SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce earlier this year, and one of the questions that I asked her was about how. Well, it was more of a statement, but it was about how other countries, are adopting frameworks. They're announcing things like MiCA in Europe that you mentioned. In Japan, they're doing things. Hong Kong is doing things. Everyone is kind of developing initial, if not already established frameworks for the digital asset industry. And the question there was kind of, do you feel like we are going to fall behind, or how do you kind of look at those? And I remember her saying that at the time we kind of almost want to see how it pans out for them. And then maybe we could make our own version or go from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to think about it, but also it's going to be very hard to come back from it. Like, if every business establish outside and grow outside of the US and, the companies will remember it. They will be worried also about changes and they're just going to stay wherever they built their company. So I think, there's a lot of things that we can do to help the industry. Robinhood is regulated. We work with regulator on a daily basis. On the brokerage side, we work with the SEC, we work with FINRA. On the crypto side, we work with the New York DFS and many other regulators. So I think if a company like Robinhood is not able to get registered and actually offer crypto the way that they are looking for, I'm not sure that there is any company that can do it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And on the front of retail versus institutional investors in the crypto sector, how are you kind of looking at that today? And what role does the Bitstamp acquisition play in this?
Yeah, I mean, so that's one of the key elements for us on the acquisition. We've always focused on customers and retail, right? And at this point, the institution is also a growing space. We actually have a lot of institutions calling us on a daily basis, asking like, can we connect to your platform? Can we trade through your platform? Because we trust Robinhood. We know that you're a solid company and all these things, and we are not able to serve them. So the acquisition of Bitstamp really gives us this established business that I was mentioning before, and give us a lot more features and offers that we can give to this institution. So that's a really exciting part of the acquisition, and we think that institutions are just going to keep becoming a bigger topic with all the ETF. For example, we saw that hedge funds and banks and all these kind of things are going into Bitcoin ETF. Now there is Ethereum ETF coming, so we think it's an important part of our development.
Why were you not able to serve these institutions prior to the acquisition?
Mostly just, resources and features that we built. We could focus and, put a team on serving them. But I think, starting from an established business with already like relationship, already like a customer base on the institution side is just like a great step forward for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think also there's just like so much opportunity there. And I feel like, as you mentioned with the Bitcoin spot ETF, that really has kind of opened the doors for adoption there. Do you feel like the institutional conversations have ramped up since then for Robinhood, or was it kind of always like maybe a linear growth?
It was always, the more on the crypto side, the more we became an established name, the more we got some of this conversation. So, back in 2018 when we launched, if you ask somebody about Robinhood, they will only think about stock. And now, Robinhood is part of the name that you think about when you think about crypto. So it was just, part of the continuation there.
Yeah. On that front, I do think about Robinhood when it comes to crypto, stocks, etc. What role does Robinhood want to play in the broader crypto market? Like, how do you want to be viewed in both the internal crypto bubble, but then to the general public?
Yeah, I think, what I'm really focusing on is making it accessible. I think I've said that, I think to you in the past, it's like, I really think that crypto was made by technical people for technical people. And, when you use a crypto product, so many times people are talking to you about the layer that is under and like how the transaction is working. And the user is just here being like, the user is like, I just want to send a message. I don't really care.
Yeah.
So I think, that's what we've been focusing on, is making products that are good to use and easy to use. I think the other part that we want to play a game in is really think about tokenization. Like we really think that it's going to be a game changer for traditional finance. When you start thinking about tokenization, you will be able to bring so many more benefits and reduce cost, which I think is also a very important part for the end customer. And so we want to play a big part of the game there as well.
Okay. On that front, what are you thinking about when it comes to tokenization and Robinhood's position in it? Like, are you developing products internally?
Yeah, it's super early to share, and so we are not going to be able to give you too much details. But if you think about Robinhood, we've been able to kind of remove all the barrier to entry to stocks, to options, to all the offerings that we have, and so with that expertise plus our crypto expertise, we think we can do a lot more in that front, and we think that we can really change things in the future.
Okay, I guess we're going to have another conversation when those things develop on the podcast.
Anytime.
You also brought up the idea, or not even the idea, the need for accessibility in crypto. We've talked about that a little bit throughout this. What do you think needs to be done to make crypto exchanges, both centralized and decentralized, more accessible to the average person? I think, the latter may be a long way away to make that accessible to the average person, but maybe on the centralized front, we could start there.
On the centralized front, I think more investment in education and more investment in transparency is just needed. I've said it in the past, but I think, educational modules are very important. We've been investing a lot in that, understanding what even is crypto and why does it matter, and what's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. For a lot of people, it's still not something that they are aware of. So we invest a lot into this. We want to make sure that people understand what they are doing before doing it. And having that kind of education content across the places. Like if you're standing for the first time your transfer on chain, we need to explain to you, like, what does it really mean? And, all the safety nets that you may have or you may not have if you're transferring on chain. And I think we all need, like, all the crypto companies out there need to invest there, because when a customer lose money for the first time on crypto, they may not even ever come back to the crypto space and think it's just like something full of scam. And the second thing is really transparency. Like, we took a very different approach last year. We publicly disclose the entire spread when you place an order. So if you buy Bitcoin for $1 on Robinhood, you will see on the trade, we'll show you exactly the spread of the order. We'll show you how much money we are making here from the spread. And we'll show you exactly how many crypto coins you're going to receive at the end of the trade. I think that's one thing that went completely the other way from a lot of other companies. Some companies tell you they have a fees, and then when you look into it, they also have a markup on the spread. And so at the end of the day, you're not getting the same amount that you were thinking. And I think that's really something that frustrates me personally, and also that I see frustrating customers when we talk to them. And so my recommendation to people has always been, look at the amount of crypto you're getting at the end of your trade. And that way you can compare between places easily. And I think, the more we keep investing in this kind of transparency, the more people will be expecting things and understanding what they are going to get, and the better people will feel about trading on chain or off chain. So yeah.
Okay. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And it kind of segues into another question I had is, when you look at the state of centralized crypto exchanges today, I think a lot of things over time have evolved, maybe in the US stagnated because of the regulatory concerns. What do you think is working and not working for centralized exchanges?
I think, liquidity has improved quite a bit on chain, on off chain. I think, now you're really able to trade, transfer from places to other places very easily. So, things have improved quite a bit from 10 years ago or more than that. And I think the overall bad actor have been kind of filtered with time, unfortunately, with some people losing assets in the process. But, I think now when you look at the big top 5, top 6 exchange in the US, you're usually not really worried about losing money. And I think that's a big change from where we were a few years ago. I do think, there is still improvement needed on accessibility and discoverability, but I think it's in a good place compared to 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's a work in progress for sure. To wrap things up, one of the last questions I wanted to ask you is, where do you see Robinhood's crypto expansion going in the near term and then long term? Like, where do you want it to be?
Yeah, I mean, near term, we're really focusing, like I said, on the EU expansion and our wallet expansion across the world and closing this deal that we discussed about. I think, it's going to be an intensive process for us. So we want to make sure that it goes well. And long term, I think for us, the goal is to grow market share and basically, hopefully we are using Robinhood product for every part of the transaction. So, if you're going from a centralized exchange to on-chain, hopefully you're using a product that has a Robinhood connection behind. And so that's kind of our North Star target. I think we are a long way for that, and we still need to keep working there.
All right. And one of my last two questions that I ask all my guests on my shows, Johann, what else are you watching in crypto right now that you think people should pay attention to?
Right now, I'm really into looking at the connection between AI and crypto. I think, when you think about all the AI advancement, a lot of the things that give me anxiety is like the centralization aspect of this model and the centralization aspect of the data that they use to train the model. And so to me, it feels like, kind of the financial industry back in the 80s where it was extremely centralized, and, we've seen all the issues coming from that. So I'm really into seeing how crypto can develop the AI progress and make it in a decentralized way.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting conversation. And it's actually something other guests have brought up too. So you're on the money there. And lastly, can you leave us with a piece of advice, maybe something you've carried with you throughout your time in crypto?
Just when something is too good, it's probably that there's something wrong behind. So don't hesitate to do some research. If someone on Twitter tells you that if you send crypto and they will send you back twice as much, probably not going to happen. Yep. And probably be careful. So don't hesitate to double check twice before sending a transaction online. That's something that, we really try to protect our customer from, and we need to make more progress there as well, as the industry to make sure that people are safe in the crypto world.
Yeah, that's some sound advice for sure. Awesome, Johann. Well, thank you for coming on the show today. And I'm excited to see what happens with Robinhood and the acquisition.
Sounds great. I'm excited as well. It's been a journey, and we're also excited for what's coming next.
Yeah. Have a good one.